Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and I'm out here today at the Paul Bunyan Firewood and Sawmill Festival in Lower City, Ohio. Now, this is about a 12-hour drive for me, but it's well worth it to see all this awesome equipment and catch up with some of my friends in the YouTube community. So we're gonna walk the show, show you everything that I can capture, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the video. So let's get to it. In previous videos, I've shown the Cord King firewood processors, but today I wanted to focus on some of their smaller, more affordable equipment, and I've got the president of the company here to do that for us.
Sure. So this is a repeater 29, 29 ton. It's got a repeater wedge on it, so it's making 4x4 pieces of wood. Has a complete automatic cycle that will keep going until I tell it to stop. So while it's doing its thing, I can be loading the next log in there, which is
when you're a one-man operation, you need that auto cycle so that you can work as fast as the machine.
Exactly. So I can make it do one cycle out and back automatic, or I can put it in auto mode and it'll just keep going out and back. So while it's doing its thing, and I can be loading the next log.
Okay, and looks like you can put a really large diameter round in here.
Up to 24 inches diameter. It'll adjust up to 24 inches long. So just a couple of adjustments to make it do 24. You move this back and you change that pin to this location, and this cylinder will go back all the way to make enough room for a 24.
Okay, this machine automatically comes with this conveyor?
It does. So to fold the conveyor up, you bring the pusher out, and there's a couple of bars you put between here and this post right here. And then that whole conveyor just flips right up on top of this, on this bar here. So it's real easy to trailer, very low center of gravity. It's got a large hydraulic tank. It does not heat up, doesn't need an oil cooler because of that.
Another advantage to this type of splitter is the size and shape of wood you get out of it.
Exactly.
Right?
Every piece is 4 inches. There's 4 or smaller.
Can you tell me about what a machine like this costs?
Yeah, one like this with the conveyor and the lifter. We have a show special on it. It's actually $18,000 at the show. Normal price would be about $19,500.
That's actually less than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I've known you guys for the big processors.
Right.
And then we've got this machine. Can you tell me what else we've got with these?
Yeah, this is
this
is a Kindling King. So it'll there's different wedges you can put in. Right now this wedge is made for making this kindling right here. You get that wedge. You can also put this wedge in, and it's for making pizza wood or bundled wood like this.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you use this machine here to take all the work out of making your bundle wood, your
Correct.
Small stuff.
Yeah.
And then you guys, for your bundling, you are using the bags instead of bundles.
We are using bags,
wraps.
yes. They're if you buy bags, you can get the UV protection. It's good for 6,000 hours in the sun.
I feel like the bag just kind of makes a better product for the customer.
Well, I like the bags. I'll tell you a couple reasons. The one is mold. If there's any moisture at all, if your bundles with the stretch wrap are out in the rain, or if the wood isn't like 100% dry, you can get mold on the inside of it. These things breathe easy. They stack beautifully. You can, make a nice pallet and then stretch wrap it and ship it.
The ones I did with wrap that didn't sell quickly got loose.
That's what I was going to say. That's the next problem, is if your wood is at all wet and it does shrink, the next thing you know, your stretch wrap is loose. So the bag is pretty nice. So
you give us a price on this unit?
Yeah, one of these is $4,200 with one wedge, and if you wanted a second wedge, it's $850.
Okay.
So, and then you can plug that right into a farm tractor to run it, or you can get a power pack separate. A power pack like that's about $2,500.
Do pretty much any tractor have enough flow to run it? Does it need a lot of hydraulic flow?
So any tractor will run it.
It's just how fast.
Right now we're running 9 gallons a minute to make this thing work.
That's
and
about what my tractor has.
So it's pretty decent. You know, 40 horse will definitely make it work proper.
Do you feel like that bundling or bagging that is just as fast?
So with 2 guys, you can make a bundle every 30 seconds with 2 people.
Yeah.
If you're organized, you got to be a little bit organized where your wood is situated and whatnot. So you load your wood, you flip the bag. Your bag doesn't land on the ground, it lands on a tray. Have your second person tie in the bag while the other guy's loading the tray. My experience is you can tie the bag quicker than you can load the tray. So if this guy has time, he can start queuing some wood up here so the guy can load quicker. So, like I said, if you're organized, you can get easily, like not, you know, working steady, 30 seconds per bag with 2 people. By myself, I can do it in 52.
Yep.
So
that's faster than I was able to wrap them when I did a time test.
yeah, okay.
All right. Hey, well, I appreciate you taking time to show it to me.
Wonderful. Nice.
Here we have Avant loaders. If you guys follow Outdoors with the Morgans, he had one of these on his property for a little while, showed them in action. Pretty cool machine. You know, for me, I still don't think it would replace a skid loader when you're talking about spending that same kind of money, but he really showed its capabilities to be pretty impressive, especially if your primary job is handling logs with this machine. It is going to do a great job of that, especially if you're dragging them out of the woods. This type of grapple that you normally see on these allows you to pull logs out of a narrow area really well. This one has a stump grinder on it. There's the type of grapple I'm talking about. This one has a log splitter on it. Similar kind of design, a little bit heavier duty, but similar to the Easton made that I have on the mini skid. And here they've got a Kubota mini skid with a trencher. I've had this same kind of trencher on the full-size skid, and it has a lot of bounce in it, so I've been interested to see how a mini skid would handle it, but I haven't got to do that yet. Here we've got a Kubota with another forestry mulcher on it. Tell you what, if you've never seen a forestry mulcher run in person, you ought to see it at least one time. They are a radical, violent machine. I've got to run them a few times, and it's a lot of fun. Here we've got a stump grinder on a full-size skid steer. I've got a stump grinder at the house for my mini skid steer, and I haven't got to try it out yet. I think this type of articulating unit would have a lot of advantages. Obviously, it's still not the same as a commercial stump grinder, but it's a lot closer. So this is a feller buncher. Just grab the tree and shred it. So I'm out here at the Wolf Ridge booth. You guys might remember about 2 years ago, I got a Wolf Ridge skid steer mount splitter, put a lot of wood through it. It's a great unit. And I've got Chris here, who's the owner of Wolf Ridge, and I'm gonna let him tell us a little bit about this splitter right here. All right, so what model have we got here, and what kind of price range, and just some basics about this?
Sure, yeah, this is our 28 Pro model. This is great for home use. Has a 9 horsepower Honda engine on it, has optional auto cycle valve. It has the hydraulic log lift that can raise like 450 pounds up. You also have your hydraulic height adjustment on the wedge, sorting table here to catch the wood as you're splitting it, and great budget friendly price at $69.95 is where it starts out at. Full 1-year warranty on everything. Honda engine has a 3-year warranty. Great machine for home use.
Yeah, that's a really competitive price for 3 sets of hydraulics, because every time you add hydraulics, that's what kind of jacks your price up.
Yep, and it's based on the same commercial frame as all of our other machines. Same beam, reinforced. We laser cut and weld all the pieces in this beam, like start to finish, right?
And this is all made in the USA, and
made
where are
in
you
the
guys
US.
located?
We're out of Wisconsin. Yep. and we build all this stuff in-house. The only thing we have outsourced is the powder coating and, of course, some of the hydraulics.
This is a $7,000 splitter, and that sounds like a lot of money if you're a homeowner, but this machine should last you a lifetime, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So this is kind of in my ballpark, but could you show us a machine that would be for someone who's getting serious about making some money?
Yeah.
And
We
selling?
want to show you guys the big dog too. Yep.
All right, let's go over there.
Yeah.
Boy, that thing is a monster. What's a machine like that weigh?
This one here is about 2,500 pounds. This has the Kubota diesel, high output, super high output package, highway towable. We have a 3,500 pound axle under it, and you can tow this right down the freeway, 80 miles an hour. This one has 30-inch stroke. You can get a 30-inch, 36-inch strokes if you want. This one has the full auto cycle, and it runs back and forth at about 5 seconds, under 5 seconds.
5-second cycle time with a 35-ton.
Yeah. Yep.
Powered by a diesel engine.
Yep.
And do they call this a box wedge, or what is a wedge like that?
This is a 12-way. This is our wicked wedge.
And is that where it's hydraulic adjustable up and down, and then you can pull a pin and put it on like a 4 or a 6-way?
You can put a 4 or 6-way on there too. Yep. Yep.
Fantastic. What does a unit like this run?
This one here is about 23,000.
Fantastic. Yep. And both of these have auto cycle forward and reverse?
That's right.
Yep. And what was the other question I was going to ask about? That one, it has the auto cycle. Okay.
Yep. That's optional on that unit. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
So, wolfridge.com?
wolfridgemfg.com for all of our information. And of course, we have all kinds of YouTube videos as well. Check out our channel. We have Wolf Ridge Wednesday is usually where we have like a longer format video highlighting all the details on a certain product.
Awesome. Hey, well, thanks for taking the time to show them to us.
Absolutely.
Here we have a Mechalak, which is more interesting than it might look when you first see it. It looks like a mini excavator, right? And it is. But I recently showed the JCB 1CXT, which is kind of a combination between a mini excavator and a skid steer. This is also a combination between an excavator and a mini skid steer. It's engineered so that you can tuck this bucket up against the blade and use it for grading like a skid steer. I've had a lot of requests to review the Mechalaks separately. I'd love to get the opportunity to do that. Okay, here we've got Bandit, big commercial wood chipper. And I know that logistically for their operations, a lot of these big tree services, nothing else makes as much sense as just putting whole trees through this, and you can chip enormous trees. To me, as a guy who loves trees and loves lumber and loves firewood, it just feels so wasteful to see big material run through one of these. But the logistics of transport and everything else, I get that's the only way they can get it done. Here we've got a purpose-built stump grinder, Bandit SG40. Man, look at that machine. That seems like a radical. I bet you can remove an average-sized tree stump in 5 minutes with this. With the tracks, it's going to go wherever it wants. We've got more of the Avant loaders here. I'm mainly interested in the homeowner stuff, but it's so cool to see the big commercial stuff. I'm too old to take up a new trade at this point, but I don't know, even as a young man, if I had it in me to work in a lift like that. That's intense right there. And that is huge for a PTO chipper.
That's the largest 3-point we make. That's a 10-inch.
That will chip 10-inch material. And how big of a tractor do you need to run it?
You're going to need a minimum 60 horse just to pick it up. It's rated to be run at 40, but because of the configuration of it and how far it hangs out back, you need the lift capacity of a 60, 65 horsepower tractor.
What's a ballpark price on a unit like that?
About 15.5.
15? Where is your company based out of?
Cheshire, Connecticut.
So that sucker's shredding these sawmill slabs like it's nothing. Now I'm sure if you were actually running one of these in service, instead of having a guy with a shovel over here dealing with sawdust, you'd have another conveyor that takes it out into a bigger pile. But pretty impressive how easily it handles that stuff. And here we have Rugged Made. So I'm familiar with this brand, but not all the details on it. And I'll see if I can get some more information. It's like we have a Honda GX 270. That's the same engine that's on my Power Split. Those Rugged Made splitters any good?
Yes, excellent.
Tell me a little bit about the splitters or the company or anything you want to say about it.
We're out of just south of Boston, Mass, and most of the splitters we sell lift the log for you. So, you know, saves you a lot of trouble on your back and stuff. That one here is a 22-ton, has a four-way wedge on it that's easily you can easily take it off and put it as a single wedge if you want to use that. That's better for quartering logs, just like this one here. That one's got a 9 horsepower Honda on it. Electric start, so, you know, easy if you don't want to pull start it. You can use this log lift here as a work table. If you have lighter rounds, you can just stack them up on there and go through them. And then behind you, we have a bigger unit here. There's a 37-ton. You can get this in a 24-inch stroke like this one here, or a 30-inch stroke for like outside boilers.
What would a price range be on a machine like this one right here?
Kind of shows you what the normal price of that unit is with the discount for the show. Someone already bought this unit, but if you go to this QR code, that gives you 8% discount, and you can go on ruggedmade.com.
$5,000 is a good price for a unit with 37 tons and a log lift.
Yes.
That's definitely competitive. And your wedge change is right here. Pull these two.
That's just for this catcher tray, which is removable.
And then your four-way slides over the top and takes a pin.
So you just take your four-way.
My display. Right. But this one is fine.
Just like that.
Beautiful, nice and easy.
Yep.
And so is this like one of your biggest units, or do you have...
That is our biggest unit, yeah.
It is?
I mean, the only thing is you can get a longer stroke instead of a 24-inch stroke.
Here we have the Vermeer mini skids. Now I talked about this in the video I recorded yesterday from the farm show, but Mike Morgan went with the Vermeer, you know, and I don't want to speak for Mike or anything, but his unit handles the full baskets of firewood a little better than mine does. And you say, well, why is that? And it's not about bigger cylinders or more hydraulic pressure or more hydraulic flow. It's all about counterbalance. The longer you make this machine, the more capable it is. But also, if you're using it, like I use mine in tight spaces as a forklift, and so the longer that machine is, the more it limits your access. So you've got to choose length of machine based on what your priority is. Very similar control setup. The lever in between does your hydraulics just like mine. The two controls sticks. This has two sets of hydraulics. I would assume one of them is continuous flow and the other is intermittent, but this also looks like a case drain, so this may be high flow. Vermeer is one of the oldest companies in the business of miniature skid steers. They've been doing these for a very long time. You can tell this machine is purpose-built for mulching. One reason that you can tell that, or in my mind, is how much higher up off the ground it sits. It's got the winch on it. This is a in the woods, like logging and mulching machine. A grading machine isn't generally gonna have that kind of clearance on it. That sits way up in the air. wide tracks with the double row, 135 horsepower. This machine probably runs over 50 gallons per minute hydraulic flow. Then they have a lift that's more like the Avant style. And another mini skid here. You notice this thing, for the size of the machine, it has an enormous bucket on it, which normally, you know, if you were moving dirt, that'd be too much weight by the time you filled that bucket up. But for light material like mulch, works out great. Well, here we've got split fire. I've shown some split fire splitters in the past with my buddy Joe from the Okie Woodsman channel. It's got a little bit of a unique functionality that it splits into both directions like a kinetic splitter does. So the cycle time is not nearly as fast as mine, but you can split almost as fast because you don't have to wait on the return stroke. You split on the way there and you split on the way back. So it removes the need for an auto cycle. And once you get the hang of it, it keeps your workflow moving quickly. I believe this is a new unit from Split Fire, the vertical. Now that is a very small table for a vertical. Of course, I've got the vertical and it's a much bigger wedge, it's a much bigger table. My table is a little bit shorter than this, but this looks like a super portable unit. My buddy Lucas from the Peaks Peak Hobby Homestead channel, I actually met up with him this morning and we had breakfast together. He's walking around here somewhere and I believe he might have this size splitter, the 2 series. And then Joe, the Okie Woodsman, has the 3 series. They also have tractor mount units that run off the PTO. They have them that are skid steer mount. And I guess one of their newer adaptations is that they have a PTO driven pump that drives your hydraulics on this 3-point tractor mount unit so that you can get faster cycle times. Generally, a hydraulic splitter run off of your tractor hydraulics is too slow. And this unit solves that problem with the pump. Here we have a skid steer mount unit. The skid steer mount unit I've used in the past was long way, where the splitting blade sticks out perpendicular to the machine, whereas this is an excavator mount. I was just talking about Lucas and here he is.
Yeah. So people are going to probably question in the shoot.
Lucas is over there recording a shot right now about the split fire wood chippers. They're a unique design because the infeed on them is more vertical and it's a large diameter infeed. Now he's really getting into the weeds there. He works with Split Fire as one of his channel sponsors. And so if you want to know more about Split Fire, go check out Peaks Peak. Here we have a Baker sawmill. These are some big industrial units, fully automated, all controlled from this operator station here. Amazing machines. I filmed this one running last year, even though they have it shut off right now. It's very fast. It just go, go, go. But these are on a whole different level than any of the equipment I run. All right, now we're coming up to Yappa. I've actually used this machine before. I believe it was the 315 when I visited Adam from Hometown Acres. Now that's a $14,000 unit. His had a bigger conveyor on it, I know, I think his unit was actually bigger than this, and he had the log deck that would feed the logs down into it. PTO driven, and at the time he could run it on his little Coyote, but he couldn't carry it. This is another big step up. It's going to be all the same design, that this is a processor. It's just a bigger version. Got a separate conveyor back here for the waste. Now we're dumping into another hopper. Okay, so they've just got a conveyor that accepts from both sides. So here we have a machine that your conveyor feeds into. So if you're running any type of processor or all your other firewood equipment, you could have 3 or 4 different splitters feeding into that hopper, depending on what you're doing. And this machine turns it into perfect bundles with no manual labor, basically. Looks like there's the final outfeed chute. I would think you'd have to be pretty particular in your splitting process, getting it down to the right size to feed into there. But man, I'm just thinking about the volume of wood you'd have to process to have a machine like that. Now that machine makes your firewood worth 5 times as much by bundling it, but you got to be processing a lot of wood. Here we have a remote control log mover by Serra. It does not seem like that would have enough ballast to move that log. It feels impossible. We're getting ready to find out. I know the back end of that's probably heavy, but it seems to me like there can't be enough ballast there. You're pushing the limit. I was just saying, I didn't seem like this thing's big enough to have enough weight to ballast those kind of logs. But he said that these logs are really pushing the limits of the lift on this machine. It would need a little more ballast to get the big ones, but it would handle one like this. What I knew Serra as, if that's how you pronounce it, is the fully automated sawmills. But all of these companies are looking to get into making the full process, get into the material handling as well. Look at the size of the blade on that. That's a different world there. We've got a debarker on it. You can feed one log in here that's got a cord of wood in it and just make wood chips. Maybe it's certain species that aren't desirable or just the transport costs, but I hate to see big trees like that just get chipped. Table legs. I've made a couple kitchen tables now, and I'm wanting to do benches and all kinds of stuff like that, and the question always becomes, how do you do the legs? I don't have any wood turning equipment, so I've been looking at buying legs like this. $147 for legs for a 28-inch table. Here we've got Logrite. I use a Logrite cant hook, really nice tool. They've also got their log arch trailers. And Mike Morgan has shown one of these on his channel too. When he got it, I thought, with all his equipment, why would he need a hauler like this? Well, you're in the woods, you can't take them out sideways. So little piece of equipment like that can sometimes do what your big machine can't. Here we have chainsaw mills. You guys remember I did a bunch of chainsaw milling before getting the bandsaw mill. These look like more of a premium chainsaw mill than I was using. I was using the Granbergs. For me personally, it feels like with a chainsaw mill, you waste so much wood that I just can't justify it. And it's so slow, and it puts a lot of wear and tear on your chainsaws. The exception is, like this unit here is actually more capable than my bandsaw because you can do giant slabs with it. That's where sometimes the Even guys who have a bandsaw mill will still use a chainsaw mill for that big stuff. This is a unique log splitter that I don't know anything about, really. It's got this low profile push block. It looks like you drop your wood up there and it pushes through this way, and then you drop your next piece on and it pushes through that way, because it's got splitter heads on both sides. So it's a variation on the concept of the split fire, saying we want to split in both directions, but then it's taking in that benefit you get from having your push block moved to a fixed splitting wedge and a multi-point splitting wedge. So this is a commercial version that's taking advantage of both directions of motion, and it allows for unloading on either side. So you can pile wood up here and someone's moving this and you're piling wood over there to keep things coming in and out. I'm not quite sure on the log lift being here. Trying to figure out the log lift being here and then the controls being there. So this is American Conveyors and Log Splitters. This one is called the Animal. I believe this is the exact splitter that Andrew from the Kelly's Country Life has. I've watched it before. It's got a hydraulically adjustable wedge for a $10,000 splitter. It's heavy built. All right, there's a lot to take in at this show. It's big and it's so much fun. I got to meet a lot of viewers and talk to some other YouTubers and see some cool equipment. And I appreciate you guys taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.